It's on mute, ma'am.
I'll mute everyone. Okay. Okay. So I hope there is, no doubts from the previous session with loops what we did. You all are clear with yesterday's topic? Anyways, I'll start with events today. So there are a lot of events, in VBA. We'll be working on worksheet, workbook. So modules which trigger, so the events which trigger these macros, so are known as workbook module and worksheet module. So let me show you. So if you can see here, sheet 1, I can either double click on this, okay, I'll get a code window and I can choose from here as worksheet. So this is one way to get into this, or what you could do is directly from the Excel sheet, right click on the sheet and click on view code. It will take you to the code which is related to that particular sheet. See, especially the workbook and worksheet module are event based. Only for a certain event you can write a macro, and only when an event occurs associated with that object the macro is triggered. So these macros you cannot execute manually, that is by pressing this run button or pressing F5 doesn't help here. Unless and until this event occurs, you cannot do anything. So, and this event should take place in that particular sheet only. That's the rule here. And for a sheet, so if I'm using selection change event in sheet 1, I can use it only once for that sheet. I cannot repeat an event for a particular object. So object that I'm speaking about is the events over here, the sheet over here. Sheet 1 is an object now. And all events associated with this object you can see listed here. You could write macro for any of these events. All these are event names. So the most common one over here, so that is selection change. As soon as you select worksheet over here, the default event that you see is selection change. Now let me also show you a few other things like sheet activate, sheet activate, and also double click, right click. All these events, you can use all these events at any point of time and get your job done for that matter. So I will, give you a few examples of these. Okay, let us write a macro for activate event first and remove these events. See, this activate means whenever you choose the sheet, that means the sheet is activated. We have only a single sheet over here. Let me add few more sheets. See, now if I choose sheet 1, that is activating sheet 1. When I activate sheet 1, what should happen? For that, we have to provide instructions within this event. Now, let's say I want to provide a welcome message as soon as the sheet is activated. I'll say message box. So, worksheet module demonstration. So, something like this. And I would like to give an icon also along with this. I'll use this. Say it's a welcome note. That as the title of that message box. Now after I provide this, you see this can be executed only when the sheet is activated. See, when I try to execute it from here, see, go back, click on sheet 1, it gets executed. You don't have to assign it to any particular object, nothing is required. As soon as the event occurs, it triggers the macro to execute. And you can see all that we gave in the message box. Welcome note in the title of, as the title of the message box. You have an icon here, information icon, and I've just, given a line. So this is the demonstration for worksheet module, and say okay. So you could also use other events like, let's say, double click. So when I double click anywhere within the sheet, so something should happen. So what is it? Now let's say I will, take two numbers here. So let's say it is price of product 1 and product 2. I have given this example in the material also. You can go back and check when I share it. Product 1 and product 2. So I will zoom the sheet so that you'll get a clear view of it. Yes. So now here I'll give a price. So price for both the products. You could take any number of products here. So when I double click, I would like to calculate the discount part. So total I would have given here. I will take the total of this. As soon as you change these numbers, it should get me the total also. Now these two will be your input cells. Let me highlight it. Those two cells are used for giving the input. You have to type in. When I double click anywhere on the sheet, I want the discount to be calculated. So I'll give the discount percentage and say discount has to be calculated. So even this has to be provided by you. I'll give 50%. That's it. And I need this discount amount to be calculated whenever I double click on the sheet after giving the input. I'll give it a different color. Let's say this is the output that I require when I double click. So I am going to write it in the double click event. So over here I'll say sheet 1 range of, or let us let's say double discount. I'll take a variable to store it as double. See, the value of double should be TBL, discount should be equal to, so this total value into whatever is present in this cell. Even for these you can actually take variables and then assign it. So let me give that also. Dim double total as double and dim double D percentage, that is discount percentage, as double again. See, we have the total and the percentage given. When I double click, only the discount should be calculated. So I have to take the input of total and percentage first. And say total is equal to, so whatever is present in sheet 1. So I have to provide the cell address. Let's check it. Range of value. So total is in C7 and discount percentage in C8. I'll use that here. C7, and this should be C8. This is discount percentage. So to get discount, I just have to multiply these two. So DBL total into DBL discount percentage. After I get this, it has to be printed in that cell. So which cell? It is C9. So I'll say sheet 1 range of C9 dot value should be equal to whatever is stored in the discount amount. Now let's see if it is working. Now I double click on this. You get to see it has calculated the discount. But what happened here, when I double click, it's trying to edit that cell. See, this should not happen to me. When I double click, only the discount has to be calculated. I don't want any other cell to be edited. So I don't want this cursor to be displayed in any of the cell after I double click. For that, I have to mention here cancel equals true. So when I give this, the double click, the double click operation gets cancelled on any other cell. So you can see, let me change the input here and give 120, 432. So total we have got, even the discount percentage, I'll change to, let's say 10%. I double click and you don't see any cursor in the cell, because as soon as the operation is performed, the double click operation is cancelled. So when you double click, those events also have an effect. So just like when you double click on any cell, it allows you to edit it. So we want to cancel that operation as soon as I perform that event. For that, I have given cancel equals true. So this was for double click. Let me show you right click. Let's say I'm taking this. So as soon as I right click on anywhere on the sheet, I want the discount percentage to be displayed in the message box. Let's say it's a very simple one again, what I'm using here. So whatever is stored in the sheet, that is DBL discount percentage as double. I want to take it from that sheet. It is equal to sheet 1 dot range of, so it is C8 value. I'll be taking that. I want the same to be printed in the message box with the message like discount percentages. And I'll concatenate it with the value present in DBL DPER variable. So if I right click anywhere, you can see here the value of the percentage, but it is not in the percentage format. I want it to display in the percentage format. So what you can do here is just go here, use format. So there is a function known as format here. You can use it to change the format. Are you all able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, I'll change the format like this, 0.00 percentage, or I'll just say 0 and percentage. It will always give me, this will give me only the whole number part. If I gave this It is also going to give me a decimal, position after the number. In case if I have given 12.5 or 10.5, even that has to be taken. For that reason, I gave. So we'll go back, I'll right click. Now you can see it is 10.0%. Now if I change it, if I change this to, let's say, 13.5, it is rounding off. Okay. I'll give this. So you have to first double click, then the discount value will change. Then you give right click anywhere, it will display you the percentage. So you can use these events for various other purpose. So whenever you want to perform some action based on these events, you just write those instructions within that event. I have taken very simple examples to show you how it works. Not necessarily required for us to go by this. So you can use these events in case you want to perform a specific action. I'll be showing you one interesting example using selection change. So what we can perform using it, it's really good. I'll show you that. So before we do that, I have to first prepare a data here and give that. So I want product name, and I have this for 4 quarters, let's say. I'm using the sales value. Okay, I'll give this change it to 10. So now I'll give some values here. Product, or let me use it as sample 101, and I'll give few product names. Let's say I've taken 10 product names, and for these I'll give some random values here. I'm preparing the data to use it in the worksheet module, that is event that I want to perform with it. So rand between, I'll give, let's say it will be between 2000 and 10,000. Copy this, paste it as values. We don't want these values to change later. For that purpose, we have pasted it as values. Now the task is, whenever I choose any particular product name, that product name's entire row should be highlighted, and for that particular product, I would like to see a chart inserted here. So that is, it should display me the chart, and as and when I change the product, even the chart should change. Now this is the task that we are going to do. So let me prepare the data for chart also. I'll keep it in a separate sheet. I'll keep it here. So I'll name this as chart data. So there is a purpose why I'm giving this in a different sheet. I'll tell you when we write the program. So this is the report that I want to display. Okay, I'll apply formatting to this as well. Quickly, let's apply some formats to it. I'll choose this. I'll change the background of this one as well. I'll change the font color. I'll make it center line. Okay, now this is prepared. So when I choose any of these products, it should get colored with a specific color over here. Now I'll choose this one, let's say. Okay. Now let's write it. See, the task over here is when I choose between C6 to C15 only, the macro should get triggered. If I select any other cell on this sheet, the macro should not be triggered. That is the condition. So to achieve this, this is a little bigger program, so just concentrate, okay? Otherwise you might not follow it. I'll hide the headings also. Very cool. Okay. So let's go to this. I have to write this for the report sheet. For the event that takes place in the report sheet, the macro has to get triggered. So I have to write the code for sheet 2. Double click on it. See over here, you choose worksheet. You get selection change event. For this event, we are writing the program now. I need certain variables. So I'll give that here. Dim row value, or I'll say int row as integer, and dim int column value as integer. See, these two are required later to be used in the program. First, let's see how to restrict this program. Okay, so before that, I have to explain these parameters to you. See, over here, you have a default argument given that is known as target. Target is any cell that you select in sheet 2. So in second sheet, this is report sheet. If I choose any cell by selection change event, if I select any cell, that cell would be the target. So whichever cell I'm going to select, I need its row number and I need its column number. So from now on, any cell that I select on the report sheet is known as target. So for these two variables, I will provide it like this. It is target dot row. Whatever is the row number of the target, that is a cell that I've selected, it should be stored in int r. And int c is equal to target dot column. And get this. Next, we should see that the macro is confined only to these cells. It is going to get triggered only when I select within 6th row to 15th row and within the third column. So I'll give that here. If int r is less than 6th row, or if int r, the row number that I've selected, is greater than 15th row, then exit sub. Exit sub, it's saying exit the macro. Exit sub means exit the macro. We don't want to run the macro if I select anywhere else apart from the cells that I have provided. For that, we are checking it. So next, I have to check for column also. If int column is not equal to third column, then exit sub again. So even for this, it should not execute. See here, this is third column. We are saying if the row number is less than 6 or greater than 15, it should not execute. As simple as that. Later, after this, see, if now I apply some format when I select it, and every time I select it, so the color is applied. Let me show you, later we'll edit. otherwise you'll be confused. Say sheet 2 dot range of. Now I have to identify which row I have selected. So that I can get using this row number and column number. So I can also use cells here, or I can use, see, anyways the column value is constant, and choose this, and along with this I'll use intr. Intr is the row number that of this cell that I have selected. See, along with that cell I have to choose. It works immediately, so you need to be careful. 1 2 3 4 5. So I have to resize my selection. So I told the macro will trigger only when I select a particular product name. Along with that I have to color all these cells, right, in the same row. For that I have to expand my selection. To expand the selection I use resize function, and I'll say 1 row and 5 columns need to be selected from the starting point that I have provided. 1 row and 5 columns need to be selected. And for this, I want to apply color. Cell color, interior dot color. See, we saw VB red, blue, green, so such colors to be given directly. Now, if I have a specific color to give with shade and all those things, we have something known as RGB. RGB values are combination of red, green and blue. Any color is formed by combination of these 3 colors. So we have a RGB code for every color. We have to provide that here to get a specific tint and shade. So I was telling you we want to provide, so this blue. So let's go to more colors and choose that here. And choose custom. You have the RGB value for that color over here. 153, 204, 255. So I'll give that over here. 153, 204 and 255. So this is the mix of red, green and blue. In this proportion, if it is mixed, we are going to get the desired color that we have chosen there. So this should be applied. And let's see whether it is executing that way, whether the cells are getting colored. See, when I choose a particular product, it gets colored. But my previous selection, the color that is applied will stay as it is. If this is the case, I will not be able to know the difference. So previously what color, I mean which product I chose, so the selection on that, the color applied on that should vanish. Only the current selection should be displayed to me with the color. So I have to always remove the formats and then reapply it on the product that I choose. So I'll say from C6 to G15, the formats have to be removed before applying it. Oh, it's a sheet 2, range of C6 to G15. I'll say interior dot color is equal to Excel none. Now if I say Excel none, no color or no fill is the criteria. See, it's just like saying, yeah, no fill. So only the product that I choose will be filled with the color. Clear till here? Do you have any confusion in the program? No? So no doubts? You're
No,
all
ma'am.
okay. You're all clear till here. Okay, the next part of what I was telling you is any product that I choose For that product, I want a chart to get inserted here. So for that to happen, I want the product that I choose to get copied and pasted in the next sheet over here. So we'll write that. We'll write that here. So even before applying the formats, what I want to do is from sheet 2, range of the C column, whichever row I have selected, dot resize, the same thing which we used to color the row, the same range I'm taking, and I'm going to copy it and paste it in the next sheet, that is sheet 3, range of, so wherever we have to paste it, I want to paste it as values. I don't want those colors to get applied here. So let's see the cell address. It is C5. So in C5 of the next sheet, that is sheet 3, I want the values to get pasted. So once that is done, I'll insert a blank chart here. So I'll take this. You could choose any chart that you want. Just choose this. So it automatically, takes the data from the data that we, that we have it on the sheet over here. So I don't want this one. Just choose right click, select data, and go to the next sheet. Choose from here. Click on OK. You will get it. See now, whichever product I choose, it will get copy pasted in the next sheet. So even this copy selection is appearing, and you can also see some screen update here. You can see that copy paste is taking place. You are able to see that in the background. So we don't want that to happen. We are going to take care of it in the program over here. You should say application dot screen updating is equal to false. So you will not see that screen flickering. So this is to avoid screen flickering. Next, after copy pasting, we don't want any copy selection also to stay there. For that, I'll say application dot cut copy mode equals false. So now you can see. So I also want to see the chart title and those things. So you can just say, or what you could do is select this object, select the shape, you go to this formula bar and say equal to, and choose the cell over here. Whatever is the product name, I want the same to be displayed as the chart title. I'll choose that. So now it shows this. I could also change the format in which it is appearing. Let's say with data labels. This is much better. I'll remove it from here. This part. See? Now immediately the chart gets updated as soon as you select it. Is it clear? This example?
Vidya, can you just show once again the chart when you right click and get the source of the next sheet?
No, please come again. I didn't get you.
When you right clicked on the chart,
Yeah.
get the source for the next sheet, right?
Yes.
Can you just show me once again? Sorry, I missed it.
Sure. I'll show you again. See, I'll remove the chart now. I'll show it again. See, you have to insert a blank chart within this, So I'll select it outside so that it doesn't take the data from here. I'll go insert a blank chart. So this is a blank chart. Previously, I'd kept my cursor within the data, so it took it from there. So it is a blank chart now. I want to add data to it. Right click. You will have select data visible here. Just choose that. You could choose any data that you want to display in the chart. I'll go to chart data sheet. I'll select this range of cells. And for this, I want to display the chart. So I could choose any chart that I want here. Okay. So that's it. Is it clear now, all of you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So no doubts on this. So this is the end of this topic, worksheet module. Likewise, you can write code for any number of events that you want. So yeah, just please confirm me if you're okay with it. We'll move on to worksheet module. I'm sorry, workbook module. Are you all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Is it clear to all of you?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. So the next topic is workbook module. So you can have as many number of worksheet modules as the number of sheets that you have. So we have 4 sheets here. You can now write in 4 different sheet modules. But for a workbook, you will have only one workbook module, and it is named as this workbook over here. You just double click on it. You will see the code window. In the object drop down, choose workbook. The default event that you see is workbook open. So you have you have already seen what it does, but you don't know it's because of this event. As soon as you open our material that I have shared, so when you open the worksheet, you get to see the title page in the beginning. That's because of this workbook open event. So this happens, or this macro is triggered only when I close and open the workbook again. So whenever the workbook is open, only at that point of time, this particular macro gets executed. Okay, and you have a very huge list over here. You could choose to write it in so many different events that we have here. You can choose what should happen. So let me show you here. Now, as soon as the workbook opens, I want to display it in full screen mode. Let's say application, not display full screen equals true. So this will open the workbook in full screen mode for me. Now, after this, let's say I want to see only a particular sheet. Now I want that report sheet to be activated as soon as the workbook opens. So report sheet name is sheet 2. I'll say sheet 2 dot activate. So report sheet, that is the one which we are seeing the chart now. I want this sheet to open as soon as my workbook opens. So usually what happens in any workbook that you are working, the last sheet that you worked on, so it could be whichever sheet. So in whichever sheet you are working before closing the application, so the same sheet and cell will be opened. It will activate that particular sheet. So we are not going to do that. I want always this report sheet to get opened when I open this workbook. For that I am writing this sheet 2 dot activate. So next thing, so To show you how it works, I have to first save and close this workbook. Now let me save it. And I should save it as macro enabled workbook. Say okay. Now let me close it. I'll open the screen again. I'll open it again. See, I'm sharing the screen to you. So now if I open VBA session 6, you can see, so you have to enable the content. It shows in full screen mode and it has activated the second sheet like this. So this is how it gets displayed. Okay, are you clear with this?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to the code window. See over here, I'll write few more events. I'll write it for few more events, like adding a new sheet. So I want to give a custom name for every sheet that I add. So you have sheets add event here. You can choose that, or yeah, this the one. New sheet is the one. So any sheet, any new sheet that is added will be referred to as SH. Okay. So how do you add a sheet? We are not going to write a program for that. So I'll just click on it. It adds a new sheet. But whenever a new sheet is added, I want to give a custom name to it. So that we'll do here. And it should always get added at the end of all the sheets. Only in the end I want it to get added. So we'll say sh dot name should be equal to my sheet ampersand sheets dot count. So the reason why I concatenated the count of sheet value is because the program doesn't accept same sheet names. In Excel, you can't name two sheets with the same name. So every time I add a new sheet, it should give my sheet and a number over there. So I'll always add in the end now. See, my sheet 5, my sheet 6. So you can give custom names to the sheet that you are adding. So you can give any text over here. I just used my sheet. You could also use department or region, anything that you want to provide. It gets added in the same manner. So these workbook events are simple and this can happen anywhere within the workbook. So workbook events are, the workbook module gets triggered by events that occur within workbook, anywhere within the workbook. Okay, so this new sheet, whenever I add a sheet, it takes place. So this, whenever I open the workbook, immediately after opening the workbook, this code is executed. Now, is it clear to all of you? Worksheet module and workbook module.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll see how to use Userform modules. So Userform modules, you have to insert a form by giving a right click here. So let's take a 5-minute break. Okay, I'll come back after 5 minutes and then start this Userform module. You can also take a 5-minute break and come back. So yes, I'm back. So to insert a user form module, you have to right click on the Project Explorer, insert user form. So this user form module is used to collect the information from the user, and it has got a lot of objects, like lot of controls known as text box, combo box, drop this list down, so list box, checkbox, option button, and all such things. You can use it in the form in creating a custom dialog box and trying to get the input from the user. You can use this to get multiple inputs also, all at the same time. You create a form, you take all their inputs. Once you submit, it gets printed onto the sheet over there. So I'll show you a simple form that someone had requested me in the previous class, like how to create the same login form in user form. So username and password. I'll just show you with one simple example, and then I'll show you other controls that we can use it here. So for any user form, you have to first use the labels. Labels are going to decide what fields you want to include in the in your worksheet. So what you want, what information you're trying to collect, so that decides. Labels are decided. So you insert it over here, name it as username. I'll increase the font of this, or I could use magnifier. Just give me a second. Okay. So I guess now you can see the control names. Are you all able to see this? The name that I'm providing? Yes or no?
Yes, we are able to.
Okay. So again, see, to create a copy of the same control, hold control, drag it with your mouse button. And to rename it, either you can just click once within that, or you could also rename it over here. So there is something known as caption. You can just change it over here as well. So for username and password, I require 2 text boxes. So there is a text box control here. You choose it from the control box. See, if this control toolbox is not visible to you, you should go to view. You should go to view over here and choose toolbox. It will appear. Okay, if it is not visible, just go and choose in the view menu, you choose toolbox, it will get appeared to you. So I'll choose this text box and insert one over here. I want the same control even down here, and just copy it and drag it. I'll hold control, drag it with the mouse button and release the mouse. See, for this, I would require another button here to submit or say login or cancel. For that, I need to use command button. So you can see the name of the control here, command button. Choose that and draw here. This is to login. I need a copy of that. Say rename it. You go here, change the caption to login, and this one to cancel. This is a very simple form with only two text boxes and two buttons here and labels for them. Yeah, I have not renamed any control. I'm just directly showing you how it works. When you run this is how the form gets displayed. You can enter anything here as the username and password. But if I want the password to be hidden, I don't want the characters that I type in the text box password to be visible to anyone. I can choose to mask it with some other character. So let me show you. So we haven't written any program yet for these, controls. So I'll go back, double click on this. So choose this, the second text box where we have to provide the password. You have something in the properties window known as password character. See, first you need to choose the text box. In which text box you want the character to be displayed. Only then come and change here. See, I want, let's say, hash to be displayed whenever I type anything over here. So let's check if it is working. The username accepts any text. Password, anything that I type here will be displayed as hash. You could choose any symbol that you want to display. I have selected hash, so it is displaying hash only. Okay. And these buttons, we have to write the program to these buttons in order for them to work. So let's write those things also. Before writing a program to any form, you have to give proper names to the controls and the form also. There is a naming convention used in Userform. I'll explain to you now. So you just have to select Userform 1. So you can see here. So over here, you have to change the name. In name, I'll say form FRM as the prefix to know it is a form that I'm naming. And next I'll give login. So this is a login form. I'll just say FRM login. Or sign in is also fine. Okay. So wait for the second, guys. I don't know why it ended. Just give me a minute. Are you able to see the screen now? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
No.
Yes, now we are able to see.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So there is a crash here. VBA, this Excel, sheet, Excel workbook crashed. So let me start it off again. I'll just do it quickly for you. I'm just repeating the same for you. The file got crashed. I'm just repeating the same. So rename them. We can just go change the caption. Caption is what is displayed on the label, or whatever is displayed on the control that you use, and name is what is referred in the program. We have to name it so that it is easy for us to refer that control in the program. So for that, this naming convention is important. I'll choose this first text box. I'll name it like this: text box TB, and say uname, so that it is the username. Next, the second text box, I'll choose that and I'll change the name to TB password. PSW. Okay, once that is done, take the command button, so draw that here. Even for those command buttons, you have to provide name. So select it. So in caption, to display what it is, the CMD. The caption is cancel. And naming is, you select it. Over here on top you have the name, so you just have to change it. I'll say CMD login, command button login. So this is CMD cancel. And I'm going to rename the form also. See, in the form, I want to display the form caption as login details. In caption, I'll say login details. You can see that here on the title of the form. So I'll name the form as FRM, let's say login. So now it is named. I have named all the controls and the form also. So whatever input that I receive from here, let's say this password character I have to set. So choose the text box, go here and provide a password character to it. It could be anything, any given symbol, it will accept it. So I'll use star this time. So yes. Now when I run this, let's see how the form appears. The form appears like this. This is not attached to any particular sheet. The form appears anywhere you want. Okay, so in whichever sheet you have kept active, on that sheet this form appears. So it has no connection to the sheet that you have kept open. So don't get confused with those things. So now to write a program to this, whenever I click on login, I want to check some login credentials, what username and password I have provided. And when I click on cancel, what should happen? So let's write it for cancel first. Double click on it. See, when I click on cancel, the form should close. Very simple. To close the form, I should give unload the form name RM login. So if you provide this, the form gets unloaded or closed. When I click on the cancel button, the form should unload. That's the criteria. The next thing. So if you are observing something over here, I am not typing the name of the macro, nothing. I am just double clicking on any given object for which I am writing the program. So when I double click on login button, it will appear over here. And the event for that object is going to appear automatically. This is for the click event. When I click on login button, what should happen? So even these are also events only, but they are associated with the form that you have designed. And you can have as many forms as you want within a workbook. And you have so many other events also for the same button. That's what I'm saying. So when you click on login, it should test for me. So we'll come to this later. Let's check. So let's give some details here. I am going to give the login details in a separate sheet. Let's say we have some set of users here. So user names. And here I'll take passwords for them. Passwords assigned to those users. I'll say admin, user 1, user 2, user 3. I have 3 users and 1 admin. So totally 4 usernames are there. And for these, I am also going to give the password. I'll say admin at 123 user user 2 at 123 and user 3 at 123. So simple things, just for the sake of remembering it, I am giving simple passwords over here. So whatever username and password I enter in the form, that has to be validated with these names and passwords that I have given. For that, we have to keep our data in a particular way and then write the program to get it done. Okay, so though it is a very simple thing, so you should use the logic properly. Only then it is going to be implemented. I'll take a username. So this is entered by the person who is trying to log in. Okay, now over here I'll say entered username, and this is entered password. So this is the input that we are going to get from the form that we have created. Okay. After this, now suppose, let's say I get the user1 as the username and password as some number. I deliberately gave a wrong password here. Now how to validate this? I want to validate this. So validate username first. If the username is correct, I'm going to get the correct password also. So how? I'll use VLOOKUP. If the username provided here is present in the data that I've given here, only then I'm going to get the associated password. Otherwise, it will throw an error. So I'll give this and choose the data, make it absolute, comma, column index number. I want the second column. It says 0 here. See, only if the username that I have entered is correct, I'll get a correct answer over here. If not, this is going to throw an error to me. You can check that. If some other username is given, you will get any error. So this is how we are going to validate the username. The next is how to validate the password. Let's see that. To this I am going to use if error. In case of an error, I want to display wrong username in the cell only. Okay, I'll just say wrong username. And here I'll give validate password. So I want to validate the password that I have entered is correct or not. So for this, what I'm going to do is I am going to equate the entered password with the validated username. So the cell that I used to validate username, I'll choose the same. You see what happens? It gives me false. So if the username and password both are correct, this cell will turn to true. Otherwise, either of them, either username is wrong or password is wrong or both are wrong, then this cell will display false to me. So let me show you with the example. Suppose the entered username is admin and the password is wrong. You see, it still gives me false. Suppose this is wrong and the password is correct. Even then this cell is going to display me false only. So both should be correct. Only then it will show me true as the answer. You can check. So this cell I have to use in the program now. I am going to use it in the program. So let me go here. So where I have to display this form to create, now let me take that over here. I'll insert a shape. So whenever I click on that shape, I want the form to appear. I'll say click here to log in. I'll use this. And to this shape, I have to assign a macro, a separate macro in that has to be written in the general module, so that whenever I assign to this and I click it, it should be used only to display the form, nothing else. I go here, insert a general module, and here you can give this sub display form. So provide the form name and say dot show. This is a simple code to display the form. Let's check if it is going to work. I'll assign this macro to the shape. I assign macro and provide here. Okay. When you click on this, you can see the form is appearing. We have not written anything to login button yet. So when you click on it, it should validate and it should display message, appropriate message box for me. Now, if it is a proper credentials that I gave, username and password, correct username and password, it should show me the report sheet. Else, it should show me a error message saying username and password or password is wrong. Please try again. Something like this. I'll click on cancel. You see the form will close now. So that button is working. So we have to write the program for the other button now. Let's go here. Double click on the form. Now double click on the login button. So here I have to provide. So we have used some names for the text boxes here. I'm going to use the same. So you just see here, I need some variables. I'll say check details as string. I'm sorry, as Boolean. See, this check details will store the value present in the sheet that we have over here. Over here. This cell value is stored in check details. And I want to print the username and password that I've received from the form over here. It says sheet 4 dot range of. So sheet 4 is where we have given all those details. Entered username, entered password. So there I have to print it. Value of those cells should be equal to tb name dot value. Whatever I have typed there, it should get printed in the sheet. So the same thing, and use it for password also. tb password dot value. So let's check the cell values. It is G5 and H5. G5 and this is H5. So after receiving the input from the user, I have to check. So I have to give the input to check details also. So I'll say check details is the value present in the same sheet. So for this cell K5, say sheet 4, range of K5 dot value. I'll give this. I'll say if chk details is equal to false, So when it is going to display false, if either username or password or both are wrong, then it will display false for me. Then I have to display saying, I'll use a message box, entered, or say username or password is wrong. Simple message. Is wrong. And I want to display VB critical and X icon over the message box. And I'll give the name of the title for the message box as login form, something. So what if check details was true? I'll give that in the else part. So here I'll display message box, login successful. To display with the VB information icon. Again over here, it's a login form. And after displaying this, it should take me to the report sheet, which is in sheet 2. The sheet 2 dot activate. And if so, that's the case. See, if it is wrong, it is anyways going to display me username and password is wrong. So, but again, I have to keep trying to log in. So let me check this now. And go to my sheet 5 and use this. Say I'll give a wrong username, but some other password. Let's say user1. So now you see I'll try to log in. It will give me an error message. Username or password is wrong. I say okay. So we should have also written the program to close the window once I have given. Say cancel. So let's write that here. After you enter the details, make sure the form is closed. And I say unload FRM login. Otherwise, the form stays there and it doesn't get refreshed. You can see. I'll give user1. I'll give the password user1 at 123. It displays login successful. It's okay. It will take me to the report sheet over here. So is it clear to you, all of you? Any doubts in this place? No answers? Did you all understand how this form could be useful to us?
Yes, Vidya.
Okay.
Yes, Vidya. Along with this, can we add, the time when user logged in?
Sorry, come again.
Like once they log in, so what time they log in successfully? So can we get the time?
You want to get it printed elsewhere, or you want the same to be displayed on the message box? Ganesh? Okay, I'll show you how to display it on the message box once we log in. Along with this login successful, I also want to display, let's say,
Printed in a next sheet or separate sheet. Sorry, there was a net connection issue, so not able to unmute.
okay, fine. You can actually print it. And who logged in at what time, you can actually print it. I'll show you here. we have to, let's say I'm using a separate sheet for that. I'll go back to Excel. Or let me print it in the same sheet over here. Yes. So username and login time. You can create a database. Who created at, at what time, who logged in. And we can also provide date and time both at the same time. We can give this. Okay, so let's get back. So that we have provided it in sheet 6. My sheet 6 is sheet 6. Okay. So if the login is successful, then I have to print the name of the username in sheet 6. And it should not overwrite, guys. For that reason, I have to take a count, row count over there. So that every time a new user logs in, it should get entered in the same sheet in the next to next row always. Every time I try to log in, it should enter the value in a blank cell over there. For that, I require row count. And say int rc as integer. So this is to take the row count in sheet 6. Say int rc is equal to application dot worksheet function count a, and here I'll use it in sheet 6 dot range of from which cell to which cell you want to count. So that is the thing. So let's see the address here. From B4, I'll give till B10,000, let's say. B4, B10,000. So this will store the details still there. And I can use that here. Sheet 6 dot range of starting from B column ampersand int rc plus 4. So because the row count value in the beginning will be 0 because we wouldn't have entered any value at all. So only if someone successfully logs in, their value will appear there. So until then, the row count value will be 0. But we want to start printing it from the 4th row. So if I say plus 4, it will be 0 plus 4. 4th row value should be equal to the login name. So whatever we have given the username, same thing. I'll say tb uname dot value. That should get printed there. And in the same sheet, the next cell. In the next cell, that is in C column, and say date and time both has to be printed for me. See, there is a function in VBA known as now. You can use that format, and I want to print it in a particular format. So I will say now. Now is going to give me the date and time together, and here I'll use dd mm y, and I also want the timing. So now Let's go back and check here. I try to log in with proper credentials. Login successful. And it will take me to the report sheet. To check the login details, you should go to My Sheet 6. Over here, it will display the time and the date together. Is it clear? Have I answered your question, Ganesh?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, yes, anyone else? Do you have any other doubts here? Any other doubts?
No, ma'am, we are clear with this form. Are you going to show any other forms also? Or this is the only one and the forms you're giving
No,
examples.
I will show you other forms also. This was a very simple one, Ramya. I'll
Okay.
show you the forms with other controls and this.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So only thing is the designing is going to take time in the forms thing in any form module. So here, let's say I'll create another user form. So let's add more controls to it. And use something like an inquiry form. So if some user logs in, he wants to give the details, he or she wants to give the details like which course they are interested in or something like that, then we have to use this form. I'm going to give the fields here. The first thing is their name. I'll take it. So let me use the magnifier. So yes, so I'll change this. Change it to name. After name, we need the gender. So I'll change this to gender. The next one is mobile number. To contact them, I require their number. So I'll just say contact number. Next is email ID. The next thing is I want okay. I want their age. And next one is which branch they want to enroll to. And what are the courses that they require. Last thing. So I'm just taking a simple example to show you use of other different controls along with the one that we saw now. We saw only command button and text box. So this form has got more different types of controls that we'll be using here. The first thing, I'll choose text box and I require text box to take name as the input. I'll give that here. Next, for gender, I have a different one. I need to use option button. I can use options here. Okay. Next, contact number. I'll choose the same text box and insert here. Next, email ID also I require text box only. Age, I'll require a text box, but along with the text box, I'll use a spin button. Spin button is a control which is used to increment or decrement a value. But the value that it increments or decrements, I require something to display it. I'm using a text box. I don't get confused with scroll bar and spin button. Choose the correct one. Click on spin button. Just beside this, you draw it. Just beside the text box, you draw the spin button. Okay. Next, branch. So for this, I can use a drop down. Drop down is named as combo box here. So choose combo box and draw one. Okay. Next is course. I want to display a list of courses here, and I should be able to allow the user to select multiple courses. So I'll draw a list box here. And after entering all this, I want the user to be able to submit it. For that, we are going to choose the command button. Submit and cancel. So let me rename these. So wherever caption is required, I'm just going to change it. Say this is male. This is female. And here I'll change the caption to submit. And this one as cancel. So now just let's run this and see how the form will be displayed. So we have not written any code to any of these controls. We are just viewing how exactly the form appears. You can see this is how the form is appearing. We have to write few more things. So the code for this one will be a lengthier one, but it is very easy, guys. It is very easy if you understand it. So once we code all these buttons and controls will work. So let's start renaming the forms here, forms and the control. So user form 1, I have to change it to FRM, let's say enquiry, course enquiry. I'll just name it as that, course ENQ. FRM. Okay. God. Okay, finally it is. So let me display you this. So whenever I try entering a name to the form. It's just closing the window.
Vidya, if you're not able to see the screen.
Yes, please give me a while.
Okay.
I'll share the code with you guys. So with the design, you just go through it. It is all the same with the controls, just like we did. Okay. If you didn't understand, you let me know, because it is again asking me to, create everything. So that file has got corrupted. I'll share the file after creating it once again now. Okay. You just go through that code. If you didn't understand, you just let me know. I'll take the class again for you, only on the user forms part. Is that fine with all of you? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you could hear what I say.
Yeah.
So are you all okay with it? I'll send a solved file to you. You go through the program. If you have any doubts, just let me know. Or you want me to take only this user form class again, it's fine with me. I can conduct it for you.
Yes, ma'am. It is fine.
Okay, so I'll stop the session here today. We'll continue from tomorrow.
Yeah, sure. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.